Hello, my name is Carissa Lowe. Today I'm going to be talking about knitting, crochet, all kinds of dyeing, and lots of fun things. So come on in and let's get started. Hi fiber friends! This is Sweet Mountain Crafts Fibercast number 23. My name is Carissa and I am the dyer behind Sweet Mountain Crafts. You can find me online at sweetmountaincrafts.com, on Instagram as Sweet Mountain Crafts, Sweet Mountain Fiber, and Sweet Mountain Mohair. I also own a local yarn store here in Cody called Wyoming Yarn and Fiber, and you can find me doing all kinds of things with that on Instagram and online as well as Wyoming Yarn. So I have lots of fun things to share with you today. I have a very full schedule this week, so I am trying to squeeze this in here at the beginning of the week, and we'll try to get this hopefully recorded today. It is Monday, June 19th, and my goal is to get this recorded and then hopefully edited by this afternoon and uploaded either this evening or possibly tomorrow. Like I say, my week is very full, but that's okay. It's lots of good things happening. So let's start with not only what am I wearing, but woohoo, I made it. I am so excited. If you follow me on Sweet Mountain Fiber, which is my Instagram account that showcases my handmade items, the things that are just my personal makes, this was a feature of that recently. This is the Faucette crop by Devin Ventry of Knitting with Pearly, and I have shown this on previous podcasts, but I got this done rather quickly. It was a fairly quick knit. It's DK weight yarn, so that made it go really quickly, and then also doing all the fun color work and the different patterning sections makes it go quick as well. I did make a few alterations to this. As you guys know, I first of all cast on with different colors, slightly different colors. I frogged that and started again with these colors, and I'm much happier with these colors, so I'm glad that I did that. And then I also, to edit from the pattern, I used, I still use the same recommended needle sizes, but I decided that I wanted it a little bit longer in the sleeves and not a crop. I don't wear enough dresses to wear a crop sweater over a dress, and I would not be comfortable wearing a cropped top with just pants. So I suppose I could with a skirt. I'd be most likely to wear it with a skirt, but it's still, a crop top is just not the most fitting for my body shape. So I went ahead and lengthened this sweater. And to do so, what I did is I just repeated the pattern on the sleeve here. For a summertime sweater, this is a great length on me. I just really like that length. And then for the length of the body, what I did is I was actually running out. So you'll see this yarn up here, this deep purple that's also in the main body of the sweater. It was dyed by Hypnotic Yarn in the February Yarnable, and excuse me. Yeah, it was called Love Language, is called Love Language, and it's a beautiful, gorgeous, tonal purple. But I was going to be running short of it, so I knew there was no way that I could lengthen the body and just do a bunch of purple. Even though it's a beautiful yarn and I would have been happy to do that, I was going to run short. So what I opted to do instead is I still had plenty of the other colors to do some more color work sections. So I just repeated, specifically doing like this striped, I guess, vertical stripe section. I did another set of that, and then I just used did solid stripes, horizontal stripes with some slip stitches to give it a little bit of interest. But for the yarns that I used, like I said, I used the one from Hypnotic Yarn, and then the white is from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. It just looks like a bare yarn, but it does have some speckles of black on it that show up every once in a while, and that yarn was called Mrs. White. And then the teal or turquoise here is one of my own hand-dyed yarns. I forget the name of it, but it was from my Daily Blessings line that I did in 2020. And then the purple, the lavender, the lighter purple here is, again, one of my own hand dyed that I think I just called lavender, but was one that I dyed quite a while back. So it was fun to pull out these DK yarns and use them up. In a way, it was kind of a stash busting project in that the turquoise color, the Daily Blessings yarn, was one that I used down to the bare minimum. I used all of the rest of that up. The lavender, I pretty much used all of that up. The purple, I used all of that up. And so the only yarn that I had a little bit extra of was the Mrs. White from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, and that will get used easily in another DK weight project. So it's just a good neutral color to have on hand. So it was so fun to finally get this done. I got to wear it to work on Friday, which was great because my knitting group meets at the shop on Fridays. So I was able to show it off a little bit with other knitters, which was just a really good time. So let's talk about a couple other things that I've finished. Finally, I've finished the Frothy Pullover by Katrina Frost. This project was a project for my daughter. I had started it, frogged it, started it again, ran out of yarn, had to dye more yarn, finally got this project done. I love it. It turned out super cute. Here are just some photos, some flat lay photos of it. At some point I might get a picture of her wearing it, but right now this is what I have, and so I'm so excited to have finally cast off this project. I had originally started this almost a year and a half ago. It was started in February of 2022. I believe that's right, in February. And it took way longer than it needed to, but it's fun to finally have it done. It is done in my own hand-dyed yarn. That is the Lush Woodbine colorway. And I don't have any of that yarn in stock at the moment, but hope to get more of that color dyed up soon because it's one of my favorites and it is just a beautiful yarn. So that's 2 big sweater projects done and off the needles. It was so exciting to get those off the needles and done, both my faux set as well as the frothy. And so now I'm feeling like I've got empty needles. I've got all these projects I can start, which obviously isn't true. I really don't have time to start a ton of new projects, but I have some things in mind and hope to get some things going soon. One of them I've already swatched for, and I'll be sure to show that here in just a minute. One other finished object that I did complete is the Yellowstone beanie. I'm so excited with how this beanie turned out. These are my own hand-dyed yarns. So Sweet Mountain Crafts hand-dyed. This is on the Ridge worsted base, which is a 100% superwash merino yarn. And I really, really wanted to work up this hat with my own hand-dyed yarns because I live just outside of the east entrance of Yellowstone. And my shop here in Cody, Wyoming is a tourist stop for many, many people. I see people from all over the country, all over the world in my shop. So it's really fun to have local items available for them. And so I have dyed up this yarn, I knit up the sample, and I'm currently working on getting kits ready to go. So I will be putting my first kits in my brick and mortar store first, but then from there I hope to also list my kits online. So the pattern for that hat comes from Knitting the National Parks, this beautiful book by Nancy Bates. And again, I showed this on the last podcast, so I won't go into this too in depth. If you want more information, you can find out there. But it's a gorgeous book. There's so many beautiful hats in here, and hats that I will probably knit even though I've never visited those locations, just because they're great patterns. And anyway, with that, I had so much fun dyeing up the yarn and then knitting up this hat that for the Yellowstone beanie, that I think it's very possible that I might go through the book and find a couple other hats that I want to personally knit that I might dye yarn for and then kit up. We'll see. If you guys have any requests, if there's a hat in this book, if you own this book or have seen it or have looked at these patterns, which a number of them, I don't know if all of them are, but a number of them are available for purchase individually online. So if there's a hat that you would especially love to see the yarn dyed by Sweet Mountain Crafts and kitted up, be sure to comment below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are that way. So other than that, my last finished object is a crocheted project that I'm doing rather quickly, just as a little something to throw in with a gift for a friend of mine here locally is going to be married this week, and it's super exciting because my son has been asked to be one of the groomsmen in the wedding, so he's coming home this week to be able to hang out with us. This is the son that lives in Phoenix, Arizona, so I'm so excited. This is going to be his first time back home since last summer, so I'm excited to see him. And then my older son is coming down for the wedding as well. So I'm going to have a full household. All my kids will be home, which will be just a really good time. I'm looking forward to spending that time with them. But I was working on, like I say, some gift projects here. So I did a couple pot holders, and the bride, on her registry, you can see that she's chosen a lot of blue items for her home, especially her kitchen. So I chose blue for her. But these two pot holders are just the very simplest pot holders to make that are crocheted. They're a magic pot holder, that magic crochet pot holder. I'll be sure to put a link in the show notes below. But this is one of the easiest go-to pot holder patterns because it's actually double thick. You can see it's a double thickness of fabric, which makes for an excellent pot holder. So for both of these, I just use some sugar and cream. The colors, you'd think I'd remember that, but I don't have the ball bands with me, and I don't remember the color names right off the top of my head. But yes, I got these two things done rather quickly one evening. And then I also saw I found a pattern, but then I didn't follow the pattern. I just liked the idea of it, where you crochet, and I did mine with ridges, but you crochet like essentially 3 lengths of like a rectangle, but do it where then it's folded in thirds, and 2 of the layers are here folded together, so it's double thick at the top. And then the third portion of it also has some scrubby yarn held in there so that it makes for kind of like one of those sponges, a scrubby sponge kind of thing. It's got a little bit of thickness here, but then it also has the scrubby layer. So you could use it either direction, obviously, for washing dishes or scrubbing pans or whatever. But I really wanted to play with this and try it out, and I figured it'd be a fun way to do it as a gift. So again, this is sugar and cream yarn on the back, and then the scrubby yarn here on the front. And the scrubby, this is Red Heart Scrubby, and this is Waves, I believe is the name of this yarn. So yes, so I got these done really quickly as a little gift project. I'll be putting these along with some other items for a bridal shower gift. Next up, let's talk about some works in progress. So I have, like I said, since I just cast off or bound off these 3 projects, the Yellowstone beanie, the 2 sweaters, that was kind of a big moment for me to just kind of feel like, okay, those are done, moving on. So I kind of in this in-between trying to find my next larger project to get going on, but also trying to maintain some of the littler projects that I have. So right now I have on the needles this pair of socks, which I believe I showed this on the last podcast as well. These are 2 at a time toe-up socks, knit on a US 1 2.25 millimeter ChiaoGoo needle. I like to use the red lace ChiaoGoo because I like the pointier tip and the straight needle on that. But these are a yarn using online Super Sock and in color. And this is color 2686. So it's just a really pretty yarn. So this is a pair of socks that I've also started. This is with the KFI's painted sock collection. I'm not as big a fan of this yarn, but I mean, it'll be a pretty sock. I don't have the picture right here, but it will be a gradient sock. So I'm looking forward to the finished object. I'm just not loving the yarn quite as much as I like online or Opal or Regia for sock yarns. But yes, so I have a second pair of socks on the go as well. And hopefully I'll continue making some progress on those. They're good travel projects. And so I'll keep going on those as I have time. Those will also be entered in the summer sock camp as I get further along with them with Crazy Sock Lady. My next project is proving to be a little bit difficult for me. It's not an overly complicated project. I just think that my mind has been so overwhelmingly busy. And then in the evenings, if I'm slightly tired, it's just not, I'm not getting it all put together very well. So I've had to frog it a couple times, and I think I'm going to frog it one more time. I think I'm maybe not frog the whole thing, but at least tink back some. But this is the Handkerchief by Gudrun Johnston, and I will insert an image here of what that pattern looks like. But I have started mine. This is using Jamieson's of Shetland Spindrift yarn, and you can see the colors here that I'm working on. I have these held on my Licca Cipra needles, and this is a size 9, which is an interesting thing about this pattern is that it works with really large size needles for the size of yarn. The yarn is considered a fingering weight yarn, and so it is fairly thin, just a simple 2-ply yarn, but it this pattern is meant to be loose and open. So when Gudrun designed this, she designed it with much larger needles than what the yarn would typically use. But what I was going to show, let me show you the colors I have. So I've already started, my main color is Dusk in this beautiful purples and blues. And then the next color that I've knit with was Pebble, just a soft gray. And then the next color that I've used so far is Port Wine, and this pretty wine color. So the last color that I have to include is Atlantic. I have not knit with any of this yet. But my problem is that it's using the old shale pattern, which is common in haps, hence the name Handkerchief. And what I'm having difficulties with is that if you don't get your yarn overs and your knit to or slip knits lined up properly, your waves in the pattern won't coordinate with each other the way they're supposed to. And somehow I'm getting off count somewhere, or I'm skipping something, or anyway, I've had to go back a couple times and we'll go back again. But this is a knit along that is happening both online and in my store. So the online knit along is happening with Simply Shetland, and it is on their Instagram account. You can find out more on Simply Shetland. But I'm also running it through Wyoming Yarn and Fiber, and it runs until the end of June. So let's see, again, it's the 19th. I've got to get kind of busy on this project. It's being held in this great summery bag from Susan of Delightful Works. I love these bags. They're just happy and fun. And I've been selling a number of these. These sell as a kit in my shop. If you haven't checked them out, just know that there's a number of them still available, and they are just a very fun project bag, generous sized project bag. but also just fun because they come with a coordinating set of yarn in my shop. So the next work in progress that I'm working on is actually for Wyoming Yarn and Fiber, a shop sample that I'm working on. This is a crocheted scarf, and I've got this far into it so far. This is the Obsidian scarf by AIMEE NEMETH of Grand Loop Designs. And I'm enjoying the process, although sometimes when I'm trying to get a sample done, I just want to get the sample done so I can get it in the shop. But the story behind this scarf is that it is named after rocks that can be found in Yellowstone. AIMEE NEMETH owned the previous yarn store here in Cody, Grand Loop Yarn and Fiber, and she is a geologist by trade. So she has a wealth of knowledge about rocks and minerals, and it's so fun to see all the things that she knows about this area, because being so close to Yellowstone, we live in a very, very unique environment here. The flora, the fauna, the geology, all of it is very, very unique to this part of the country, certainly, but also the world. So we have people that travel to Yellowstone and the surrounding region every year that are just studying the environment. And it's a really neat connection to this region, that so many people are looking at the uniqueness of this area. But along with that, since AIMEE has a background in geology, she started designing patterns that would focus on the rocks specifically. She has a couple patterns that are not rock specific, but she enjoys knowing about the rocks and the minerals of the region. So her patterns are very knowledgeable. She'll put a little bit of an insert. Let me show you first. This is this is her cover sheet for her pattern. So the obsidian scarf, and it is based off of this rock formation here. And then in the pattern itself, she talks about Obsidian Cliff, a specific spot in Yellowstone. It's an outcrop of black volcanic glass. The type of rock forms from magma that contains very little dissolved water. And since crystals can't form in the absence of water, the resulting rock is glassy. And so she talks about how it is just something that can be found here locally. And her pattern is based completely on the local geology. And like I say, she has designed other patterns for this region. So if you're at all interested, just know that most of those are available at wyomingyarn.com, or if you have an opportunity to come visit me at the shop. My last work in progress has only just been swatched up. I believe I talked about this briefly on another podcast, but my next project in another Delightful Works bag. This is a cute bag that Susan did for me for a previous kit that we did. But I was able to swatch up this great yarn. This is a La Merino, Cascades La Merino. So it's a Llama Merino blend, along with the Lanagato's Mohair Royal. And so I'm holding those together to create this beautiful fuzzy soft fabric. And this is going to be for my first cardigan, or the first cardigan. I think she calls it my first cardigan. But it's just a beautiful pattern that has stockinette stitching on the main body of the pattern, and then half fisherman's rib actually on the sleeves. And I'm going to be knitting this up for my daughter. So I've just barely got that started, and we'll continue with that. This isn't something that I need until this fall because it'll be way too warm for the summer. So I'm slowly working on this, but I have no ambitions of getting too aggressively moving forward with it. I need to finish some of these other little things first, and then I'll get going on this more. Let's talk shop news for just a moment. I put so many great new yarns in my shop this last weekend that I had to make sure to take a moment to share them with you because I am so excited about some of these colors. I love coming up with new colorways, but sometimes there's just some that hit home more readily for me, especially, than some others. There's some that sell great and are a fan favorite that I love to go back to, but I love always bringing in new colors, and these are deep tones, very rich colors, which for me works so well that I have ideas for sure with all of these. So let's see what I have here. I'm going to focus first on my Mount Decay. Mount Decay is a 100% superwash merino yarn that it has 245 yards and 100 grams. And it is a gorgeous, soft, squishy yarn that is a product of the USA. And I love being able to support American-made fibers because it means that our wool industry continues to be maintained here in the US. So this is a 100% US product from sheep to finished yarn. And I love being able to dye these and put these in my shop. But let's look at the colors. First, I have Absence, and it is called that because it is a super dark, almost black, but it is a navy blue. It is just really, really deep blue. All of these DK weight yarns that I'm getting ready to show you are semi-tonal, which means that they have some color variation in them. I was not going for solid. I like having tonality in my hand-dyed yarns. Occasionally I'll go for solids, but not very often. So this semi-tonal is very, very dark, but it does definitely read blue. And then next in line, right next to it, and I'm going to show these side by side, is Midnight. Midnight is of the same color family, just not as dark. And so it is definitely just a deep blue. And together, these would make a fabulous project if you wanted a very subtle striped sweater, or a sweater with blocks of color, maybe with like the upper half a dark tone and then the lower half a little bit lighter. They could be worked up in so many different fun ways. But I love these two colors and how they look together as well as individually. Next to that, I'm going to go to this one because, again, sometimes when you're looking at pictures online, it can be hard to see the color difference until you put them side by side. So we're going to look at this one next. This is Depth. And Depth is definitely a teal. It has green in it, although it is a blue-green. So you can see those three colors together. Very oceany, deep ocean, dark and beautiful colors here. So again, these would be gorgeous in a single sweater project. All of the colors in this line go together fabulously. I don't think there's a combination that doesn't work with the 5 colors that I've just recently put in the shop on my Mount DK. I am intending to put all of these colors on fingering weight as well, but and we'll see. I may put them on worsted weight. I'm not decided on that just yet. But if there's ever a request, if you guys ever see a color that you like and you'd like it on one of my other bases, don't hesitate reaching out to me and letting me know. I'm always happy to dye it up on other bases. Sometimes it's just a matter of time that I'm not getting to putting these colors on other bases. But yes, always feel free to contact me and let me know that you're interested, and I'd be happy to work them up for you. So the next in this line is Mulberry. And Mulberry is just a beautiful deep berry colored. This is actually done at the request of, I have a customer that's working on a beautiful hat design with my yarns, and she had a light gray, one of my tonal grays, and she needed a high contrast. And so I asked her kind of which direction she wanted to go, and she said more along these lines. So this was dyed for her, but then I took those same colors and made sure to get some to put in my shop. So again, there's those 4. And then the last one, this is Crottle. I'll explain the name in just a minute, but first I want to show you the color. Isn't this beautiful? I love this color. This color is a unique one in that the dyes that I put together to obtain this color might be a little bit surprising, but they work so well to create this beautiful light olivey green color. I would not call it olive. It is definitely lighter than an olive green, but it kind of goes towards that very natural kind of a green drab. The name Crottle is actually a name that I found. I almost started to call this color lichen, but lichen can mean so many different things. So I actually found a type of lichen called crottle that is often found in this colorway. The other unique thing about crottle, and when I say crottle, here I'll spell it for you on the screen. The other unique thing about crottle is that it is a lichen that is often used for dyeing. So I thought that was interesting. Now this is not dyed with crottle, but the color is inspired by that type of lichen. I love lichen. I think lichen are so unique, the way that they are created and the way that they're a cross between algae and fungi. And so it's such a unique biology in lichen, and I think it's so fun. I love finding beautiful lichen. But here are these 5 colors. So pretty. And like I say, there's not a wrong combination here. These 2 would be beautiful. These 2, I think, are stunning together. And I actually, if I were going to do a striped sweater, I think I would use absinthe and crottle. I actually have a request from a local customer to dye these 2 up on fingering weight for a project she has in mind. I'm not sure I don't know if she told me what the project was, but she said that she's going to need a number of them. So I will probably be dyeing these on a fingering weight here before too long. But they are just gorgeous. And yeah, there's not a bad combination in the lot. So my other plan is to dye up some more of my Dove gray and put with this combination, because I just think the Dove, that gray tone, is such a great neutral to put with these if you needed a lighter color for a higher contrast. But these are in the shop now. Be sure to go check them out and let me know, like I say, if you need any more dyed. At the moment, I have a limited quantity available, only because when I do a new color series, I guess, I usually dye a small batch of them to start, and then I will dye larger batches of them in order to make sure that there's an ample supply in my shop. But if there's any of these colors that you need more of, if you wanted to get a sweater's quantity of any of them, or maybe a couple of the colors in order to do a sweater, just let me know. I'm happy to dye more of them at any time. So the next thing is super fun, because I am participating in Shark Week with Politically Incorrect Knitters. And if you have not heard of that, Politically Incorrect Knitters is a podcast here on YouTube, and they are running a special event for Shark Week from July 11th to July 18th. So there's all kinds of fun things happening with that. If you want to find out more details about that, be sure to look up Politically Incorrect Knitters. But for that, I decided that I was going to do my own hand-dyed sock set specifically related to it. So this is the colorway that I came up with. And I should say I cheated just a little bit, maybe. Susan of Delightful Works put together these fabulous bags with a shark theme to them. Aren't they cute? I thought this was super fun and very adorable from Susan. So you can see it's already scrunched because I've been using this bag. This is actually where my obsidian shawl is living right now. So anyway, I took the bag and then I used the colors from the bag in order to create my set. So the set is called obviously this is not a complete set. At this point, the bags are only available from Susan on her in her Etsy shop, with the link is below. But the yarn is available from me, and this is called Lurking Beneath. So the inspiration is obviously this main fabric right here. I loved the little neon type fish in there, so I made sure to do my coordinate, my little hankette, to match those fish there. And then there's all kinds of colors, including the oranges and some of those pops of green, and then of course the blues. So this is my Lurking Beneath. It's on my Scree sock base, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon base. There are 389 yards in a single skein. This is by far one of my favorite fingering weight yarns for almost any project. I love this for shawls, socks, scarves, sweaters, any kind of project. I love this yarn base. This is, again, another American-made yarn, so it is completely milled here in the US with US fibers and then hand dyed in the States. So I love, again, supporting American made. The other thing that I want to briefly mention is that, as I have done in the past, I've also listed leftovers from my sock adventures. So when I am running a monthly subscription program for a sock set that is available that you can get on a monthly basis. It's a surprise set. So in that set you get the sock yarn of your choosing, or on the base of your choosing rather. So I have a DK sock, I have Plateau, which is a cashmere merino nylon sock, and then I also have my Scree sock, the one that I just showed that Lurking Beneath is dyed on. So you get to choose the base that you prefer. And then in that set, you also get extra little goodies and a fun little story that I type up every month to go with your sock adventure. So those kits are so much fun for me to put together. I love the work that I'm able to put into those because it keeps me steadily in the dye studio, but it also just helps me to be creative in a whole new way. And they're fabulously fun for me to make and to get shipped out to you guys. But I do also, when I'm dyeing those, I usually over dye just a little bit to make sure that I have plenty to send to my monthly subscribers, but also just to have extras in case someone were to join in the subscription, or if anybody wanted more of any of the colorways. So out of those sets, the way that it works is that if you are a monthly subscriber, you get the whole entire kit with all the goodies and all the extras. If you don't buy the monthly sock subscription kit or are not subscribed monthly, then the story is that a couple months later, I usually work to try to get the extras loaded into my regular shop. So in my last update, I did get in my March and my April sock subscription kit sets. So what I should say though is that those sets now only come with just the sock yarn. Only the monthly subscribers get all the extra goodies in their kits, but the sock sets are available. First of all, I have Seed Catalog, which was my March colorway. This is a very fun, very bright colorway, and I'm going to pop in this image here of it knit up. You can see what that yarn looks like here. The next color that I'm showing here is Spring Storm. This was my April sock set, and I have both Seed Catalog and Spring Storm available on a variety of bases, so make sure to look and see if there's one in particular that you're looking for. Spring Storm also knit up beautifully, and you can see that here. And so those are my previous sock adventures that I'm making available to you guys. If you're interested in sock adventures, just know that that is also included in a link in the show notes below. And for a monthly subscription, you get a sock set as well as, like I say, all the extra little goodies. Let's move on to acquisitions. So this has been kind of a fun month for me. I bought a couple things, but I was also gifted a couple things. And so I wanted to be sure to show both. So let's start with, first of all, as I had shown already, I have this bag from Susan of Delightful Works, her shark bag for Shark Week. And I purchased one of those because I really wanted one to be able to dye yarn to match, as well as just having another great project bag from Susan. But along with that, first of all, I should say this. Along with that, I also bought these great yarn cozies from Susan. Excuse me. I loved the colors, and it's kind of fun because it coordinates in its own way with this bag. So one of these is actually being used in my bag with the crocheted shawl that I'm working on. It's got a little bit of a ball of yarn left in there. So I bought 2 of those to go with my shark bag. And then the fun thing is that Susan, for my birthday, she noted that it was my birthday the end of May, so she sent me some extra little goodies as a birthday treat. So Susan, you're so incredibly sweet, and that was very thoughtful of you. Let me show you what she sent. So she sent this fun little extra notions pouch, and she made it so that it would all coordinate. So all these go together, really fun, the whole set. But in the notions pouch are all kinds of other goodies. So she sent some tea, and she sent this cute little notebook, Rejoice in the Lord Always. And then she sent chapstick, cinnamon lip balm, and measuring tape. It says yarn rules on this side and has the llama on that side, but just a cute measuring tape. Always good to have one of those. I think I have one in almost every project bag, which is so helpful because amazingly, if I don't have one, I'm always like, where are my measuring tapes? I need a measuring tape. And then this great pair of foldable scissors, which are probably really handy for travel as well because they just fold up so nice. So, oh, and then also, oh, it's starting to rain. It got really gray and cloud covered, and it's starting to rain a little bit here. But then she sent these tags, which are adorable. So just for you, handmade with love, and created with care. Very, very sweet. And don't mind my fingers right now. They probably are a little bit rough. I've been working in the garden quite a bit. But look at the fabric on the inside of that bag too. So fun. Oh, I felt spoiled. Oh, there's one other thing that she sent me that didn't fit in the little baggie. That is also cute. Yarn is a Lifestyle. This is a Hobby Lobby item that she purchased for me, and it's got where it's a project record. So you go through and it has all the different, you can put the type of yarn, the washing instructions, the needle, the project, all the details are right there for you, but just multiple pages of the same for recording projects, which is so good because right now I'm just using just a lined notebook. And sometimes I'm like, wait, what do I need to include again? So I love this where it's all laid out for me and I just have to fill in the blanks. Thank you, Susan. That was so sweet of you and such a surprise. I love it. The next thing that I want to show is that I participated in the Cozy Kids Mal from Rose Opal Knits. And my one of my Scandy Bears was chosen as a prize winner, so from their random drawing. So they sent me a little something fun. So from Erica and Daphne, they sent this beautiful hand-dyed skein. This is a superwash merino cashmere nylon blend, and it is one of a kind. It doesn't have a name, but it is so pretty. So I'm looking forward to putting that in a project. I think I actually have a coordinating yarn that would go beautifully with this. So it is, yes, it's lovely. It doesn't say what weight it is, but I'm guessing that it's a DK weight. It looks like a DK weight to me. So fun. And then along with that, they also sent these really adorable little stitch markers. I guess it's one stitch marker, I should say. Here, let's see if I can put it on this side so you can see it better. It's one stitch marker, but it has 2 little charms on it. Or maybe one is a, one is like a progress keeper and the other one's a stitch marker. But one is this little pink sheep and the other one is a little cloud. Just a happy little cloud. Anyways, so fun, so exciting to always win prizes, right? And it's fun just to get goodies in the mail, especially when they're beautiful. Well done, ladies. I know you don't dye all the time, but it's fun to see the fun little projects you have dyed up. And then the next thing, this was a purchase that I made with a little extra thrown in. But Michelle of, let's see, I think it's M. Brewer on Instagram, has started a hand-spun Instagram account where you can go on, and if you find one of her hand-spun yarns, which are amazing, she does a beautiful job spinning, but if you go on there and comment sold, then you can coordinate with her to pay her and stuff. So she doesn't have a website or an Etsy business, but she does sell her yarns online. And again, I'll be sure to include her link below. But I've followed Michelle for some time on Instagram, and I suppose she's followed me too. And so while we've never met in person, I feel like Michelle and I know each other a little bit. And she just has been posting some gorgeous yarns, and I've been drooling over most of them. But when this one came up, I was like, oh, yep, I've got to get that one. It is so beautiful. So this is Superfine Merino, 18.5 micron possibly. And then it's 252 yards, hand spun by her. Isn't that gorgeous? She did such a fabulous job with this hand spun. I really think that I'm probably going to be weaving this up into like a scarf. I'm not totally decided, but that's the direction my mind keeps going, that I would weave it into an accessory piece for myself. But Michelle also included a couple other goodies that I've got to be sure to share. So there's this little snail progress keeper that I love. He's so cute, just super sweet. And then she also threw in a mini skein of 75% superwash merino with 25% nylon, just this pretty pink, which actually would be really pretty with this if I decided to use it as maybe warp somehow with this project. So thank you, Michelle. Oh, and she threw in also some more tea, which I'll never complain. I love tea, so I love getting new teas in the mail. All right. That is most of what I have for you guys today. I'm going to try and keep it just a little bit shorter here because, as I said, I've got a busy day. I actually have a crochet class that I need to go teach now. So I'm out of here to go teach a young person how to crochet. But I will be sure to include here some more images of my gardening, my flowers that are looking beautiful right now, and possibly pop in some photos of animals if I get an opportunity. If not, just know that my animals are doing well, and I'll be sure to feature more of them here before too long. So hope you all are enjoying the warmer months, starting to warm up here a little bit in Wyoming. We'd love to see some more heat coming our way before too long, hopefully. But just hope you're doing well where you are. Thanks for hanging out and checking in with me, and I will catch up with you again before too long. All right, bye-bye. This is not the bag it's in. Which bag is it in?